Hello ladies and gentlemen, today I present to you an actual take 2 of a new project for my YouTube. It's not associated to my streams. I had to redo this because after the beginning of the video I take off my headphones, which I will not be doing. I will not be removing them from my neck, even though I do breathe into it and it does create that annoying sound. Sometimes I'm really sorry. But my video got ruined because of noise, not being able to hear me over the game's guns and whatnot. The game has been lowered to like something like 80. It should be lowered to 80, but with this around my neck, it shouldn't. The guns shouldn't be too loud. So the idea was that I wanted to present bits of history, and today, which is why it's not a stream, today I will be presenting to you the story of Prince Albert, which will be read both from his own memoirs and a altered version of those memoirs, or information that this first one I found, which the other video is the only one that it has, I discovered on a wiki, which is different. It was written completely differently and has stats that this original one doesn't. So this video is also going to incorporate the two, which will make the video just a little bit longer. So for those who do not know, Prince Albert, who is the future King George VI, who had stammers and problems talking in public, was known as Prince Albert, actually. And outside of the two princes currently, and even then, Prince Albert was the only sovereign to actually see action outside of William IV, which is very fascinating. He, in the memoir, again, it's all here on the information, but in front of us we have battleship Collingwood, which was commissioned in 1912. Nope, 1910, I'm sorry. She's placed in service in 1910, and she's one of the 3 St. Vincent class battleships, St. Vincent being the first, Vanguard being the last. And they are they're not the most modern, and though they saw action at Jutland as much of the aging British fleet did, regardless of Britain's ability to outbuild anybody. And on this map she is in a single battle, which, it's funny, again, you can see, even though I just placed my mouse slightly on it, there we go, you can not only just see König Albert, which I think is funny because that's actually King Albert, which has, it's not on purpose, I didn't put it down because I'm talking about Prince Albert, it just happened, but König Albert is actually just kind of as old as Collingwood. Because in my first video, I'd put way too of a modern German battleship, which tore Collingwood apart in the battle. It's a one-on-one. There's only one ship on each side. I'm controlling them both because of the fact that it's a historical video, which now I'm actually talking way too much more than I did in the other one, and I'm actually not too happy about that, but I'm going to continue anyway. You can see the smoke in the distance, which is really awesome. So I am going to have the ships go. I'm on follow mode for Collingwood, and I'm going to grab Fiona, which is my laptop, while Max is my tower, for reference. And I am going to... Oops, she's hooked up. Now she's hooked this time. I was like, oh, I don't think she's hooked the last time, but she's hooked this time. Okay, that could have ended badly. Oh, whoops. Okay, so that's, again, the wrong mouse. I'm repeating all the same mistakes I made in the last video, which I think is really funny. So, now we're going to get right to the reading, so this video is not longer than it has to be. On May 31st and the 1st of June of 1916, British and German naval forces met off the coast of Denmark in what was to be the largest naval battle of the First World War. With heavy losses on both sides, among those serving the British fleet was King George V's second son, Prince Albert, the future King George VI, 1895 to 1952. The prince had been enrolled in the Royal Naval College at Osborne House at the age of 13. Okay. In September 1913, he was commissioned as a midshipman on board HMS Collingwood, and he was serving on the ship during the fighting at Jutland. As he describes here, Prince Albert is the only British sovereign to have seen action in battle since William IV. So we scroll by his really hard to read, and I mean it's really hard for like at least me to read, but so this is this version. We went to action stations at 4:30 p.m. and saw the battle cruisers in action ahead of us on the starboard bow. Some of the other cruisers were firing on the port bow. As we came up the Lion, which is battlecruiser Lion, which is Admiral Beatty's flagship. Lion leading our battlecruisers appeared to be on fire. The port side of the forecast, but it was not serious. As far as we could see, only 2 German battle squadrons and all their battle cruisers were out. The Colossus, which was another battleship, leading the 6th Division with the Collingwood, her next astern, were nearest the enemy. The whole fleet deployed at 5 and opened out. We opened fire at 5:37 p.m. on some German light cruisers. The Collingwood's second salvo hit one of them, which set her on fire and sank after 2 more salvos were fired into her. I was in A turret, which is... whoops. And again, just like last time, it's exactly what happened last time. The camera's very, very gentle in this game, so you have to be kind of careful how you move it. This is A turret. A turret is always the forward turret. Always. I was in A turret and watched most of the action through one of the trainer's telescopes as we were firing by director when the turret is trained in the working chamber and not in the gun house. At the commencement, I was sitting on the top of A turret, which means he must have come up out of a hatch somewhere here that the game obviously didn't model because there's no point. And he's sitting on top of the turret, which is kind of ballsy, I must admit. I was there during, so on top of A turret and had a very good view of the proceedings. I was up there during a lull when a German ship started firing at us and one salvo straddled us, meaning it either fell short or it went over. We at once returned the fire. I was distinctly startled and jumped down the hole in the top of the turret like a shot rabbit. I didn't try the experience again. I don't think you would. I definitely wouldn't try that again, for sure. Just to show you, I have this one up in the background just to show you how handsome he looked at that age, which is right here. And these are his extremely, at least for me, hard to read actual notes. It's funny because I never noticed his actual... okay. Oh, never noticed that. Alright, so we're going to go back to the ship whose engine is wailing. And Koenig Albert is getting closer. She's getting closer. We're all good. So I'm just going to read the second portion, which has a lot more information. And then I'm going to get right to the fighting. And hopefully the battle doesn't take as long as it did in the last video. So we went to action stations at 4:30 p.m. and saw the battle cruisers in action ahead of us on the starboard bow. Some of the other cruisers were firing on the port bow. As we came up, the Lion leading our battle cruisers appeared to be on fire. The port side of the forecastle. Forecastle, by the way. I think I said forecast on the last one. It's forecastle, but it was not serious. They turned up to starboard so as to not cut across. Cut across the bow of the fleet. As far as one could see, only 2 German battle squadrons and all the battle cruisers were out. The Colossus leading the 6th Division with the Collingwood, her next astern, were nearest the enemy. The whole fleet deployed at 5 and opened out. We opened fire at 5:37 p.m. on some German light cruisers. The Collingwood's second salvo hit one of them, which set her on fire and sank after 2 more salvos were fired into her. We then shifted onto another light cruiser and helped to sink her as well. Our next target was a battle cruiser. We think the Definger or Lutzow, and one of Collingwood's salvos hit her abaft and altar turret, which burst into a fierce flame. After this, she turned away from us and disappeared into the mist. By this time, it was too dark to fire, and we went to night defense stations. The 4-inch guns were manned to repel destroyer attacks. Our 12-inch firing was very good, though rather slow, as we could only fire at the flashes of the German guns. The range at the commencement was 10,000 yards and ceased at 8,000 yards. The German fired some of their torpedoes, but only one of them took effect in the Marlborough, the flagship of the 1st Battle Squadron. One of her boiler rooms, one of her hydraulic rooms, and one of her dynamo rooms were flooded, and her speed was reduced to 14 knots. She succeeded in getting into the Humber. One torpedo passed ahead of Collingwood and another astern. We had no casualties and no damage done to us, though we were straddled several times. That is some of the shots in a salvo falling short of the ship, or others over, as I had already said, or stated, but it never hurts to actually have it reiterated again. The Colossus was hit once in the superstructure, which wounded 9 men and put the main derrick out of action. The Barham and Malaya and even Warspite in the 5th Squadron were hit. The latter had to go to Royst at once. The two former had a good many killed and wounded. The Barham had 28 killed and 41 wounded, and the Malaya 38 killed and 53 wounded. The dead were buried at sea. The cruiser defense was concentrated on by the German battle cruisers and was hit by several salvos at once. She blew up in a huge sheet of flame and smoke, and when this sank, she had utterly disappeared. The Warrior was totally disabled and had to be abandoned. Several of our destroyers were sunk and some were taken in tow by others. Whether they have all got in is not yet known. The German fleet all turned away from us after dark, followed by our light cruisers and destroyers who attacked them during the night. The result is not yet known as to whether they accounted for any more of the enemy. We were not attacked at all during the night, and everything was very quiet. The fleet streamed south 40 miles off the Danish coast all night. The action was fought about 40 miles south of the Skagerrak and 40 miles off the Danish coast. We went to action stations at 2 a.m. on Thursday, June 1st, but there was no sign of the enemy to be seen. We saw a Schutzlands airship at 4 a.m. who came out to make a report as to where we were. She was fired at by several ships. Her range was about 12,000 yards. She made off as soon as we fired at her. We remained at action stations all day till 5:30 p.m. We returned to Scapa Flow at noon on Friday, June 2nd, and coaled and ammunitioned at once. So that was actually a lot more information than the last one actually gave. But I believe that's because that other one wasn't completely transcribed, or maybe it was, and the way that website's page worked was a little bit weird. I don't know. So we are going to go and take a look at Koenig, who is actually getting. They're both getting absurdly close now. So we are going to enter the follow mode, which doesn't do much of anything because evidently it does follow the ship. You still have to align your cam, which is, a-okay. So Koenig Albert was 1913, so she still might win. She may still have an ability to win on Collingwood for one really major reason. One, she has 3 main turrets, which are all center-lined, X, Y, and I believe superimposed Y. A, not X, I'm sorry, A, wow. Okay, A, Y, and superimposed X or superimposed Y. I never always remember these things, but she has 2 torpedoes at the butt. I think oh no, those are our 8.8 guns, never mind. Some of them have torpedoes, submerged torpedoes. Furthermore, she has 2 wing turrets, and she has multiple casemated turrets. Whereas, yeah, she doesn't only have side-facing casemates, she also has, like, front and rear-facing casemates. However, where Collingwood has... Whoops, sorry, honey. She's actually kind of fair-ish. She lacks most of the casemates, although she seems to have a bunch of those in her superstructure, interestingly enough. Although you can also state that that's the way it was also on Prince Albert as well. But she also has a X. She has an A, not an X, A, Y, 2 wing turrets that face both the same way, and I believe they call this a centerline Q, but I'm not sure because the lettering, I'm not too down with all the lettering. So we're going to advance the time now, because again, this is no fun just listening to me go on and on and on, and then the video loses its lackluster. Although I will note one thing, I don't know if you noticed this, but there's like sailors on guns on top of the turrets. It's gonna be a wild ride. When that fires and you're there, you're trying to stand and aim. Whoa. So I'm gonna order them all. See, I'm gonna order them to open fire on each other now. So open fire. Okay, so open fire with your guns. No, don't change course. That's the wrong button. It's alright. No, don't change course. Target nearest, torpedo nearest. Close the layout. Target nearest leader, torpedo nearest leader. Close the layout. They should target each other now once it's unpaused. Yes, they are, and they are bringing their guns to bear. At least A's are bringing their guns to bear. The A's are to bear. I don't know about the wing turrets yet, but... Whoop, that actually startled me. Haha, straddled, but her rounds hit fucking... Koenig got hit. Now the guns are firing. Straddled again. That's funny, that's staying in the video that I got startled by the game. I would remove that if I didn't want to be ashamed, but honestly I don't know why I should do it. Oh! And that's what I love about this game. This is Jutland, by the way. That's true. In the other video I made that explanation. I made that introduction. Okay, I don't know how well my voice is carrying because of the sounds of the explosions, but like I said in the last video, you couldn't hear me because I took these off. Hopefully by having them here, you can hear me. In fact, I'm going to preemptively fix that. I'm actually going to, once I stop getting really angered by my computer's inability to understand what I wanted it to do, I'm going to bring that down to 50. So, Jutland, quickly, is a really unknown 2010 strategy game based completely off of the actual formations, but the campaign that you can completely play just totally like how you want. You can have like my stream, actually, which I will be streaming today, is America siding with Germany instead, since Germany is like quite outnumbered, and that's what I like about this game. Check out the way the stuff just splintered into the water like that, and check out the damage. The crews deal with damage like they really do. For example, she's got 12% fire and she is flooding on her port side. It's 53% and it's 27% persistent. She also has 18% damage to her power and propulsion, which means she might be taking in water in the boiler rooms. And 5% of her searchlights are either damaged or destroyed, because at night they use searchlights and flares to see each other. Whereas Prince Albert is on fire, which so is Collingwood. She's got 9% fire, 51% flooding. Her power and propulsion is great, but her searchlights are gone completely. Some of her weapon mounts have been destroyed, like the case-mated weapons mounts are gone. I'm going to disable the follow mode now because this is getting to be ridiculous. So now, there. Oops, we're still on poor Collingwood there. Oh, whoa, those are torpedoes in the water. That's what those little streaming things are. Ah, the sun's in the way. No, and Collingwood is turning because her watchman said torpedoes in the water. Oh, whoa, that was... Oh, that was ammo that exploded, and she's gonna get hit by the torpedoes, because whatever that was dangerous. And contact. Bam. Under the waterline. Where's that other one now? There's another torpedo. Well, there's there's 3 torpedoes. Oh! Damn, that didn't look good. Collingwood lost in my last video, and Collingwood may lose again, but this is due just in part to the fact that it is a one-on-one and that her age is... Nope, that one missed. Oh, that one hit her right in the butt. Damage is heavy. Collingwood is probably sinking. Yeah, she's accumulated too much ship water. Flooding exceeds current pumping. General damage level sinking 14 minutes and 2 seconds. So... Collingwood is going down, but because you are going down, I don't want you to... I can't control you. That's right, when you're sinking, you're done for. So you're gonna change course. You're gonna come around to keep the battle going, and you will ship turns independently. Okay. Flashes like that have to be ammo going off, at least. There's something bad going off. Crews will fire the guns generally to the very end, although it's possible to kill entire crews. Oh, Jesus. Yes, that casemated one there is destroyed, but this one is still good. Those ones are still good. And you have flames coming from underneath because the wind is blowing that direction. Oh, Jesus. And do they have crew losses? Which they do. Standard crew is usually 1,249. He's currently at 1,212, so he's lost quite a few. And of course, Koenig Albert is one of the 5 Kaiser class battleships, whose sisters I really don't know by heart, since I was more or less working on Prince Albert and the Collingwood. So, and Collingwood, because I haven't. Collingwood is small. She only has 718 and she has 630, so she's lost quite a bit people. She's lost quite a few people. Fires are out of control. She's sinking in 5 minutes now. She's flooding on the port. And her engines have stopped pretty much. Or they are stopping. There's not. That was severe. God, I love the splintering in this game. Such an underrated game and really unknown. Oh. I give it to them. Come on. I'm actually just gonna speed this up now because there's no point in the video taking any longer. Collingwood is defeated. I'm sorry to say, she will not. She's gonna go down, so it doesn't matter. 4 minutes, okay, whatever. I'm gonna zoom out just a little bit. I'm just gonna watch him finish her off, but. I'm just gonna pause it for a second because I just want to see what the actual level damage physically on the ship is. Okay, so it's definitely still to the sides that were broadsided initially. So you can see the sailors on those top guns are gone, undoubtedly dead or blown over the side, or they got off the guns to try to help fight the fires, things like this. I think Albert's still firing. Was its gun still firing? Or is she finished? Nah, she's finished. Oh no, they're still firing. I don't know how it's... Okay, yeah, it's... Never mind. And the ship, the crew is abandoning ship. There she goes. Oh, she even capsized a little bit. And she's gone in 8 seconds. And she just rolled. Because of the degree to port, it's rolled underneath completely. It's done. That was a 26-minute, so they were in contact for 26 minutes, which I think was a little bit less than the original one. So yeah, so that was a new concept of mine that I am testing, and I hope you enjoyed it. I am totally down to do... I'm actually considering doing more historical videos like this, including based upon the Battle of Jutland, because the game has the battles as actual predefined scenarios. And so I'd like to thank all those who watched this, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, please like and subscribe, and you know, spread it to your friends if you like. You have history buffs, you know, or people who just might like it. Be my guest, pass it around. I do stream. I mostly stream. I'm actually only starting to get back into fixing my YouTube, but hopefully I'll have more content. So I hope everybody has a great Sunday or whatever day, whenever you see this, if you should see this on my YouTube, and I hope everybody just has a great coming weekend, or I should say work week.